Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. I hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a great weekend so far. Welcome to this new video on Bitcoin. We're going to do a full update over what to expect over the course of today, but also primarily about what to expect later today when the Asian markets and when the S&P 500 futures will open, and next week, obviously. All right, because we're going to get a lot of volatility. That seems pretty clear. Again, Bitcoin, first of all, is at this major key level, but we'll talk about that a bit later. But then apart from that, the volume has also dropped down a huge amount, down to $12 billion right now, which is normal for the weekend, at least recently. But it's still very low, right? I mean, these were also the volume levels we had during the majority of 2024 when the markets were well, at least when Bitcoin was trading much lower. So that usually means that there's less liquidity as well. So that means that we're going to get volatility. Being at this level increases that chance, even though the price at this point of time is technically still at the same level as it was yesterday. So in that sense, not much about my thoughts has changed, even though I might say, I mean, yesterday, to do a brief recap, I was pretty 50-50, all right? Because the main level that we have right here, which hopefully you can also see on the charts, but I'll go to the 4-hour time frame here, maybe that's better. The main level is the POC, so that's the point of control, that's where most of the volume is transacted. And that level precisely is at 84,400. And we failed to hold the breakout above that. But at the same point of time, which you can also see here on the 4-hour time frame, we have managed to break out above 83,800 and hold that. So what that means is that right now, with low volume, low liquidity, we're just consolidating in that very tight area. And that's not going to end well, right? The probability of that ending well, for traders at least, is very low. And personally, I was long on Bitcoin on Friday. I've closed that, all right, just to be completely risk off going into the next week. Those are my thoughts as a trader, at least. But that's the way I look at the market right now. Excuse the sniffing. I still have, I'm not sure what, but some sort of an allergy problem, I think, which is very annoying, I know. But hopefully the value that I do provide is worth the annoyance. Outside of that, next week we also have FOMC. We have the Federal Reserve interest rate decision and the press conference afterwards. I will be live during that, all right? So if you're interested in that, then feel free to join me there. But usually what that means is that, especially on Tuesday evening, Tuesday afternoon we also have some economic data, but Tuesday evening we'll see some de-risking, and then Wednesday itself will probably be very volatile, and then it's going to be very interesting to hear what he actually has to say, or what they have to say about the monetary policy after the positive inflation rate data of last week. But we'll talk about that. Now, talking about Bitcoin right now, like I said, it took a while before we actually got to the analysis, but the volume is relatively low, but it's flattening out here. Same thing with the open interest. I mean, we still, or at least it seems like we still have a lot of positions open, as you can see, since the 14th of March. So Friday, open interest is still very high, so that means we're going to get volatility. The problem is deciding which way that volatility will go. Now, I do have a bit of an idea here. First of all, it will depend a lot on how the stock market opens, so keep an eye on those futures as well. But second of all, you see the open interest going up quite a bit over the course of today in this period of time when the CVD went down. So that usually means that a lot of shorts were opened. Therefore, I'm still slightly leaning towards, and this is what I said yesterday as well, but I'm still slightly leaning towards saying we're going to get that move up first. That's also taking into account that I think it's most likely we will actually see a little bit more recovery from the stock market, and therefore I would expect something like this. And then I don't expect a bullish breakout, so eventually we will reject back down. But ultimately, I'd say that's most likely. So I'll definitely keep you updated on that, of course. But that's it for now. So thank you for watching. Take care and bye.